Hello and good day. Welcome to our video channel, God's Promises. And today's video will be Luke chapter 9. Let's get started now. Luke chapter 9 is a pivotal chapter in the Gospel of Luke, as it marks a significant turning point in Jesus' ministry. The chapter begins with Jesus sending out the 12 apostles to proclaim the kingdom of God and heal the sick, and ends with Peter's confession of Jesus as the Christ and the transfiguration on the mountain. In the beginning of the chapter, Jesus sends out the 12 apostles with specific instructions not to take any provisions with them, but to rely on the hospitality of those they meet. This was a test of faith and trust in God's provision. Jesus also warned them that they would face rejection and persecution in their mission, but they were to persevere and not be discouraged. As the apostles went out to preach and heal, they performed many miracles and experienced great success. However, news of their ministry reached Herod, the ruler of Galilee, and he became afraid that Jesus was John the Baptist raised from the dead. This demonstrates the fear that Jesus and his message provoked among the political authorities of the time. The chapter then moves to a scene where Jesus feeds the 5,000, one of the most famous and significant miracles of Jesus' ministry. The feeding of the 5,000 was a powerful display of Jesus' divine power and compassion, and it was a sign of the abundance of God's provision for his people. After this, Jesus took his disciples aside and asked them who they thought he was. Peter, always the first to speak, declared that Jesus was the Christ of God. This was a pivotal moment in the gospel, as Peter's confession recognized Jesus' true identity and set the stage for the rest of the story. Jesus then began to teach his disciples about his coming suffering and death, and he urged them to take up their own crosses and follow him. This was a call to discipleship that required self-sacrifice and commitment to God's kingdom above all else. The chapter concludes with the Transfiguration, a mysterious and powerful event in which Jesus' appearance was transformed and he appeared in glory with Moses and Elijah. This was a revelation of Jesus' true nature and identity as the Son of God, and it was a confirmation of Peter's confession earlier in the chapter. The teachings and applications of Luke chapter 9 are many. Firstly, Jesus' commissioning of the 12 apostles teaches us about the importance of mission and evangelism. Just as the apostles were sent out to proclaim the kingdom of God, we too are called to share the good news of Jesus with others and to make disciples of all nations. Secondly, the feeding of the 5,000 teaches us about the abundance of God's provision. We can trust in God's provision and know that He will provide for our needs, even when we face difficult circumstances. Thirdly, Peter's confession of Jesus as the Christ teaches us about the importance of recognizing and confessing Jesus' true identity. We must confess Jesus as the Son of God and follow him wholeheartedly, even when it requires sacrifice and self-denial. Finally, the Transfiguration teaches us about the glory and majesty of Jesus as the Son of God. We must recognize and worship Jesus as the Lord of our lives, and we must be willing to follow him wherever he leads us. In conclusion, Luke chapter 9 is a rich and powerful chapter in the Gospel of Luke, filled with important teachings and applications for our lives as Christians. We are called to share the good news of Jesus with others, trust in God's provision, confess Jesus as the Son of God, and follow him wholeheartedly, even when it requires sacrifice and self-denial. Thank you for visiting us today. Please share with us your favorite Bible verse below in the comments section. Don't forget to like and subscribe. It really does help our channel grow. Looking forward to see you back here for our next video. Always take good care.